Martin Luther King Jr., his granddaughter. Yeah. That literally brought tears to my eyes. I think like it's just something so powerful about young folks. I'm young myself, but younger than me, um, like speaking out, like that just takes so much courage. It also takes so much like maturity and so much like to know what's going on, not like in a completely oblivious way, obviously, but to be aware of just this, of how the system works, right? Even at your young age, and how it's impacting you in the things that you do and the dreams that you want to accomplish, right? A lot of the stuff, like I didn't even really learn about myself as how I show up as a Black woman until I was like 20 years old, right? In college, and I think like it's something amazing to be so young and to just impact and influence other young folks around you to move and to speak and to really make a difference in their own lane. And I thought that was incredible. And I really almost cried listening to her speak.
For me, there were, I'd say, like 3 big things that really made the trip, the experience special. First, like I said, they had a band and like a praise team that was singing in between speakers, right? Like they had transition music. And at one point, they sang a song called Total Praise, which is like one of my favorite gospel songs of all time. And it was just really beautiful and really powerful. And for me, it was a reminder that part of the work that we're doing and the reason that we're having to march and fight in the first place is because like we're fighting a spiritual battle. Like it's more than just white supremacy and police brutality, but there are like spiritual things at play and things within the atmosphere. And it was a reminder of like so much of our work within the civil rights movement, even talking about like Martin Luther King being a reverend, or Al Sharpton, like it is grounded in like the Black spiritual tradition and in the Black gospel tradition. And so to have that element brought back in, I felt like just really honored our ancestors and their expression, and was just a passing down of like Black creative expression, Black music, and that being like synonymous with our movement work. So that was one. The next was there was a woman who got up and spoke about Black maternal health and her experience with losing her daughter during childbirth. And like her family, they were already doing policy work. They were already working in this field. And then they had a tragedy happen. And that's what brought her to this march. And just one, as somebody who also is very passionate about Black maternal health and doing that work, to see that work not be erased, or sidelined to police brutality, which is typically like the big political thing, the big shiny thing that everyone wants to talk about. That was really affirming. It kind of made me like remember like, oh yeah, there are other places I can do this. Like there are other people doing this work. And I have something to aspire to in terms of like the way that I can push my work moving forward. And so that was very affirming to see like an issue that primarily impacts Black women be centered in this work, because I feel like Black women are decentered and forgotten about a lot in our liberation work. And then the final thing was because it was very hot, because things weren't structured in a way that I would have hoped or that I expected for it to be, I ended up just doing interviews with people in the crowd and kind of abandoned my original plan of the way in which I was going to show up and do press. And so it allowed me the opportunity to connect with people on an individual level and find out their stories and why they came to the rally and what their values were and where they come from. And so being able to connect with people and to create some really meaningful and authentic relationships, as well as some media pieces, was my other favorite part of the experience.
I love all the speakers, especially Dr. King's granddaughter. That was dope, because I often find myself shrinking in spaces and I don't know, I just don't like being in the spotlight. So like when I see other people taking like big courageous moments, I'm like, yo, you people inspire me, and you could get inspired from someone who's way younger than you, way older. I don't think is limited to age. So that was dope. But also it was super duper hot. Like that DC heat did not come to play that day. And I was like, it was so hot. And then I seen people like left and right, just like needing to be rushed to the cooling room or the cooling area that they had. And I just started to get nervous because my mom was starting to overheat. And then out of nowhere, the fire truck came and just started like letting the water just squirt out. And then people was running through the water. And it just gave me like that old Chicago Black Party vibe. And it just made me realize that like in the midst of something very serious, like we can come together and still have fun. People was running through the water, they was playing music. And at one point this girl had like a megaphone and she was like screaming something, like had her chant, and then she started like twerking, and just like the elders that was around just looked and just started dancing with her. I was like, okay, you know, that's not something I expected, but it was just like a good feeling, like the energy, and just like Brianna said, just being there. Like it didn't hit you till you were there. Like, dang, this is crazy. I'm here. I'm in the exact same spot, you know. So I just really enjoyed that. Like that. Once the water started coming out and people started running through, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, we here. Everybody is, we're adjusting, we're adapting, we're making it happen. And that was just a sign like I'm with y'all. We're gonna figure something out. So I appreciated that too.